Vincent Willem van Gogh was born on March 30th, 1853, in the small village of Zundert in the southern Netherlands. He was the eldest surviving child of Theodorus van Gogh, a Protestant minister, and Anna Cornelia Carbentus, a woman with a keen appreciation for nature and art. The family lived a modest but stable life, grounded in religious and cultural values that would profoundly influence Vincent's early development. The Van Gogh household was one of warmth and structure, yet it harbored a quiet tension, one that may have shaped Vincent's introspective nature. Vincent's birthplace, a rural environment characterized by flat landscapes and sprawling farmlands, left an indelible mark on his sensibilities. Zundert was a small town, yet it was rich in natural beauty, a quality that would later resonate in his art. The young Vincent was known to be a curious and observant child, often exploring the countryside and taking a deep interest in the textures and colors of his surroundings. These early experiences laid the foundation for his eventual artistic vision, even though art was not yet a prominent aspect of his life. Education in Zundert was basic, but sufficient for a boy of Vincent's background. He initially attended the village school, where he was described as intelligent but moody and reserved. His parents, particularly his mother, encouraged his interest in reading and drawing, though these pursuits were seen more as pastimes than serious endeavors. From an early age, Vincent showed signs of a restless and questioning mind, one that did not always align with the structured expectations of his family and society. The Van Gogh family was deeply religious, and this had a significant impact on Vincent's upbringing. His father's role as a pastor meant that faith and moral instruction were central to their daily lives. Vincent's early exposure to the Bible and his father's sermons nurtured a spiritual inclination that would later evolve into a complex relationship with religion. At the time, however, this spiritual grounding offered Vincent a sense of purpose and stability, even as he began to grapple with his place in the world. At the age of 11, Vincent was sent to a boarding school in Zevenbergen, a decision that marked the first significant separation from his family. The move was meant to provide him with a more rigorous education, but it also introduced feelings of isolation and homesickness. While at Zevenbergen, Vincent developed an interest in languages, including French, German, and English, a skill set that would serve him well in his later travels and work as an art dealer. Despite these academic achievements, he found the experience of boarding school emotionally taxing. 2 years later, Vincent transferred to another school in Tilburg, where he continued his education. It was during this time that his talent for drawing began to surface more noticeably. He took lessons in art and design, showing a natural ability to capture details and forms. However, his time at Tilburg was cut short when he abruptly left school at the age of 15. The reasons for his departure remain unclear, but it is often attributed to financial difficulties or Vincent's growing dissatisfaction with formal education. Following his return to Zundert, Vincent entered a period of uncertainty. His family expected him to pursue a respectable career, but he seemed aimless and unsettled. In 1869, at the age of 16, he secured an apprenticeship with the art dealer firm Goupil & C, a position arranged by his uncle, who was a partner in the company. This opportunity marked Vincent's first significant exposure to the art world, albeit from a commercial perspective. Working in The Hague, he gained valuable insights into the art market and developed an appreciation for contemporary and classical works. Vincent's time with Goupil & C was pivotal, but it also revealed his struggles with conventional expectations. Though he initially performed well, his increasingly idealistic views on art and his disdain for the commercial aspects of the trade caused friction with his employers. This tension foreshadowed the broader conflicts that would characterize his adult life, between practicality and passion, conformity and individuality. By 1873, Vincent had been transferred to Goupil's London office, a move that seemed promising. London offered new experiences and opportunities, but it also introduced emotional challenges. He became infatuated with the daughter of his landlord, a love that was unreciprocated and left him deeply disheartened. This rejection marked one of the first significant emotional crises in his life, setting a pattern of intense feelings and subsequent despair that would recur throughout his years. The early years of Vincent van Gogh's life were a period of quiet formation. marked by the interplay of familial expectations, religious influence, and a budding curiosity about the world. While he had yet to discover his true calling, the seeds of his future greatness were already being sown. His experiences in Zundert, school, and the art world provided both the inspiration and the struggles that would shape his extraordinary journey. The period from 1873 to 1880 was marked by Vincent van Gogh's restless quest to find his place in the world. This was a time of exploration, failure, and introspection, during which he struggled to reconcile his ideals with the realities of life. Although he had not yet discovered his calling as an artist, these years were pivotal in shaping his complex character and setting the stage for his later creative pursuits. Vincent's move to London in 1873 was initially a promising chapter in his life. As an employee of Goupil & C, he worked in the heart of one of Europe's most vibrant cities, surrounded by art and culture. London captivated him with its bustling streets, galleries, and intellectual energy. For a time, he excelled in his role, earning praise for his work ethic and keen eye for art. Yet, beneath this surface of success, Vincent felt a growing sense of alienation. The commercial nature of his job clashed with his deepening belief that art should serve a higher, more spiritual purpose. During his time in London, Vincent experienced his first serious emotional crisis. He fell deeply in love with Eugenie Lawyer, the daughter of his landlord. However, his feelings were not reciprocated. Eugenie rejected his proposal, leaving Vincent heartbroken and humiliated. This unrequited love plunged him into a period of profound despair, during which he withdrew from his colleagues and became increasingly introspective. His letters from this time reveal a man grappling with questions of identity, purpose, and the nature of love and suffering. Vincent's heartbreak was compounded by his growing disillusionment with his work. He began to view the art trade as superficial and materialistic, a far cry from the profound truths he believed art should express. This conflict led to tensions with his employers, and by 1876, he was dismissed from Goupil & C. The loss of his job marked the end of one chapter and the beginning of another, as Vincent turned his attention to other fields in search of meaning and fulfillment. After leaving Goupil, Vincent embarked on a series of attempts to find a vocation that aligned with his spiritual and moral ideals. He briefly worked as a teacher in Ramsgate and Isleworth, England, where he taught young boys and immersed himself in religious study. His time in England was formative, as he read extensively, including works by Charles Dickens and the Bible, which deepened his empathy for the poor and downtrodden. However, these roles failed to satisfy his restless spirit, and he continued to search for his true purpose. Vincent's growing religious fervor led him to consider a career in ministry, following in the footsteps of his father. In 1877, he returned to the Netherlands and enrolled in a theological school in Amsterdam. However, his time there was short-lived. The academic rigor of the program proved overwhelming, and Vincent struggled to adapt to its structured environment. After just a year, he abandoned his studies, a decision that further strained his relationship with his family, particularly his father, who had high hopes for Vincent's success in the church. Undeterred, Vincent pursued a different path within the religious sphere. In 1879, he moved to the Borinage, a coal mining region in Belgium, to work as a lay preacher. This period marked a turning point in Vincent's life, as he lived among the miners and their families, witnessing firsthand the harsh realities of poverty and labor. Deeply moved by their suffering, Vincent devoted himself to serving the community, often to his own detriment. He gave away his possessions, shared his meager resources, and adopted a life of extreme simplicity. Despite his dedication, Vincent's approach to his missionary work was unconventional and, at times, seen as excessive. His superiors criticized him for what they perceived as a lack of decorum and professionalism, ultimately dismissing him from his position. This rejection was a severe blow, further intensifying Vincent's feelings of failure and inadequacy. Yet, it was also during this period that he began to draw more frequently, using art as a means of expressing his empathy for the miners and their struggles. By 1880, Vincent had reached a crossroads. His attempts to find purpose through conventional means had ended in disappointment, leaving him disillusioned but not defeated. He began to consider the possibility of art as a vocation, not merely as a profession, but as a way to communicate his deepest emotions and connect with humanity on a profound level. This realization marked the beginning of his transformation into the artist the world would come to know. The years of searching for purpose were fraught with pain and failure, but they were also a time of profound growth. Vincent's experiences in London, Amsterdam, and the Born Age shaped his understanding of the world and deepened his empathy for those who suffered. Though he had yet to pick up a brush in earnest, these years laid the emotional and intellectual groundwork for his artistic journey, providing the raw material for the masterpieces that lay ahead. The years from 1880 to 1886 marked a transformative period in Vincent van Gogh's life, as he began to embrace art not just as an interest but as his true calling. This chapter was characterized by a combination of personal struggles, fervent study, and growing ambition. Although he was still far from achieving recognition, Vincent's commitment to art set him on the path to becoming one of history's most celebrated painters. In 1880, Vincent's life was at a low point. His failed attempts to find purpose as a preacher and his dismissal from the Born Age mission left him feeling directionless. However, amidst this despair, he experienced a profound realization. He could use art as a means to express his deepest emotions and connect with others. This idea reignited his sense of purpose, and he resolved to dedicate himself entirely to becoming an artist. It was a decision that would define the rest of his life. Vincent's initial steps into the world of art were tentative but determined. With no formal training and limited resources, he began by teaching himself the basics of drawing. He believed that mastering this foundational skill was essential, so he spent countless hours sketching the people and landscapes around him. His early subjects often reflected his empathy for the working class, miners, farmers, and laborers, capturing their struggles and dignity with raw honesty. Realizing the need for guidance, Vincent sought mentorship from his cousin Anton Mauve, a prominent painter in The Hague. Mauve introduced him to new techniques, such as working with watercolors and oils, and encouraged him to explore more sophisticated compositions. However, their relationship was fraught with tension, partly due to Vincent's unorthodox methods and strong-willed personality. Despite these challenges, Mauve's influence played a crucial role in shaping Vincent's early development as an artist. During this time, Vincent's relationship with his family, particularly his younger brother Theo, became increasingly important. Theo, who worked as an art dealer in Paris, not only provided Vincent with financial support, but also served as his confidant and emotional anchor. Their correspondence reveals the depth of their bond and the extent to which Theo believed in Vincent's potential, even when others dismissed him as a failure. It was Theo's unwavering support that enabled Vincent to continue his studies and pursue his dream. In 1881, Vincent returned to his parents' home in Etten, where he continued to hone his craft. However, his time there was marked by personal turmoil. He fell in love with his widowed cousin Kay Vostricker, but his advances were rejected, leading to another period of emotional distress. This rejection, coupled with tensions with his family over his unconventional lifestyle, further strained his already fragile mental state. Despite these difficulties, Vincent remained committed to his artistic goals, using his pain as fuel for his work. Vincent's dedication to art often bordered on obsession. He immersed himself in studying the works of great masters, analyzing their techniques, and drawing inspiration from their achievements. He was particularly influenced by the realism of Jean-François Millet and the social commentary in his depictions of rural life. Vincent sought to emulate Millet's ability to portray the dignity and humanity of ordinary people, a theme that would become central to his own work. In 1882, Vincent moved to The Hague, where he began creating more ambitious works. He focused on figure drawing, often hiring models from the working class to pose for him. His choice of subjects reflected his growing interest in portraying the lives of the marginalized, capturing their struggles with compassion and authenticity. It was also during this period that Vincent began experimenting with oil painting, a medium that would later become synonymous with his name. Despite his progress, Vincent's life in The Hague was far from stable. His relationship with a woman named Sien Hornick, a former prostitute, scandalized his family and caused further rifts. Sien and her children became frequent subjects of Vincent's work, but their tumultuous relationship eventually ended, leaving him isolated once again. These experiences deepened his understanding of human suffering, a theme that resonated throughout his art. In 1885, Vincent completed one of his first major works, The Potato Eaters. This somber painting, depicting a group of peasants sharing a meal, epitomized his commitment to portraying the harsh realities of rural life. Though it received little attention at the time, The Potato Eaters was a significant milestone in Vincent's artistic journey, showcasing his distinctive style and vision. The work reflected his belief that art should not merely entertain, but also convey truth and evoke empathy. By 1886, Vincent had reached a turning point. He realized that to grow as an artist, he needed to broaden his horizons and expose himself to new ideas. Encouraged by Theo, he decided to move to Paris, where the vibrant art scene offered opportunities to learn from contemporary movements like Impressionism and Post-Impressionism. This decision marked the end of his formative years and the beginning of a new chapter in his artistic evolution. The years from 1880 to 1886 were a period of relentless struggle and profound growth for Vincent van Gogh. Despite financial hardship, emotional turmoil, and social isolation, he remained steadfast in his pursuit of art. These formative years laid the foundation for his later masterpieces, as he developed the skills, vision, and resilience that would define his legacy. Vincent van Gogh's move to Paris in 1886 marked a significant turning point in his artistic journey. Paris, at the time, was the epicenter of the art world, teeming with avant-garde movements, innovative techniques, and a vibrant community of artists. The 2 years Vincent spent there were transformative, as he immersed himself in the city's artistic energy and underwent a dramatic evolution in both style and outlook. Upon arriving in Paris, Vincent moved in with his brother Theo, who worked as an art dealer. Their Montmartre apartment was modest, but it became a crucial base for Vincent as he navigated the Parisian art scene. Theo's connections provided Vincent with access to galleries, exhibitions, and the works of emerging artists. For the first time, Vincent encountered the revolutionary ideas of Impressionism and Neo-Impressionism, which challenged traditional approaches to color, light, and composition. One of the most profound changes Vincent experienced in Paris was his embrace of a brighter and more vibrant color palette. Inspired by the works of Claude Monet, Camille Pissarro, and other Impressionists, Vincent began experimenting with lighter tones and the dynamic interplay of light and shadow. He moved away from the dark, earthy hues of his earlier works, adopting instead the luminous and dynamic techniques that characterize modern art. This shift marked the beginning of his signature style, which would later define his masterpieces. In addition to exploring Impressionism, Vincent was profoundly influenced by the work of Georges Seurat and Paul Signac, pioneers of the Pointillist movement. Pointillism involved the meticulous application of small, distinct dots of color to create an image. While Vincent did not fully adopt this technique, he incorporated elements of it into his work, experimenting with broken brushstrokes and juxtaposed colors to achieve a sense of movement and energy. Beyond his exposure to new artistic styles, Vincent found camaraderie and inspiration in the thriving community of artists in Montmartre. He befriended several prominent painters, including Henri de Toulouse-Lautrec, Émile Bernard, and Paul Gauguin. These relationships were both intellectually stimulating and emotionally significant, providing Vincent with a sense of belonging and the opportunity to exchange ideas. Gauguin, in particular, would play a crucial role in Vincent's life, though their relationship would later become fraught with tension. During his time in Paris, Vincent also developed a fascination with Japanese art, which was becoming increasingly popular in Europe. He was captivated by the simplicity, bold lines, and vibrant colors of Japanese woodblock prints. These prints influenced his compositions, encouraging him to adopt more flattened perspectives and a greater emphasis on decorative elements. Vincent's admiration for Japanese art reflected his broader desire to create work that transcended cultural boundaries and spoke to universal human experiences. Despite the artistic growth Vincent experienced in Paris, his time there was not without challenges. The frenetic pace of the city, combined with his relentless drive to improve, took a toll on his mental and physical health. He struggled with periods of depression and exhaustion, exacerbated by his heavy drinking and poor diet. Furthermore, his intense personality and unorthodox methods often alienated him from others, leaving him feeling isolated despite the vibrant community around him. Vincent's artistic output during his Paris years was prolific. He produced a remarkable number of works, including portraits, still lifes, and cityscapes. His series of floral paintings, featuring sunflowers, irises, and other vibrant blooms, showcased his evolving mastery of color and composition. These works were not only exercises in technique, but also expressions of his desire to capture the beauty and vitality of the natural world. By 1888, Vincent felt increasingly disillusioned with city life. The constant noise and chaos of Paris overwhelmed him, and he longed for the peace and simplicity of the countryside. He envisioned a place where he could focus entirely on his art and establish a community of like-minded artists. Encouraged by Theo, Vincent decided to leave Paris and move to the southern French town of Arles, where he hoped to find the light, landscapes, and tranquility that would inspire his next chapter. The 2 years Vincent spent in Paris were transformative, both artistically and personally. His exposure to Impressionism, Neo-Impressionism, and Japanese art revolutionized his approach to painting, while his interactions with other artists broadened his perspective and fueled his ambition. Although his time in the city was fraught with challenges, it was a period of profound growth that laid the groundwork for the masterpieces he would create in the years to come. As Vincent left Paris for Arles, he carried with him the lessons, influences, and dreams that would define his legacy as one of history's greatest artists. Vincent van Gogh's move to Arles in February 1888 marked a pivotal chapter in his life and career. Leaving behind the frenetic energy of Paris, he sought refuge in the quiet countryside of Provence, where he hoped to reconnect with nature and realize his dream of establishing an artistic community. The year he spent in Arles was one of extraordinary creativity, as he produced some of his most iconic works, but it was also a time of escalating personal struggles. Arles offered Vincent the tranquility and inspiration he craved. The region's luminous sunlight, vibrant colors, and rustic charm captivated him. He was particularly fascinated by the interplay of light and shadow in the fields, vineyards, and orchards that surrounded the town. This setting provided him with the perfect environment to refine his evolving artistic style, which combined elements of Impressionism, Neo-Impressionism, and his own bold, emotional approach. Vincent rented a small house in Arles, known as the Yellow House, which became both his home and studio. He envisioned the Yellow House as more than just a personal retreat. It was to be the nucleus of a utopian artist colony, where like-minded painters could live and work together. This dream of camaraderie and collaboration was a driving force for Vincent, reflecting his deep longing for connection and mutual support within the artistic community. The months Vincent spent in Arles were incredibly productive. He painted with feverish intensity, producing some of his most celebrated works. His subjects ranged from rural landscapes to portraits and still lives, each infused with his unique use of vibrant colors and expressive brushstrokes. Among his most famous creations from this period are the sunflowers, a series of radiant floral studies that symbolize his optimism and passion for life, and the Night Cafe, which captures the lonely atmosphere of a local drinking establishment with haunting, swirling tones. Despite the beauty of his surroundings and the output of his creativity, Vincent's time in Arles was not without challenges. His intense work schedule, coupled with his fragile mental health, led to periods of exhaustion and emotional instability. Letters to his brother Theo reveal his struggles with feelings of isolation and his frustration at the slow progress of his artistic aspirations. Nevertheless, Vincent remained determined to persevere, channeling his emotions into his art. In October 1888, Vincent's vision of an artistic colony seemed closer to reality when Paul Gauguin agreed to join him in Arles. Vincent had long admired Gauguin's work and believed that their collaboration would be mutually enriching. The arrival of Gauguin initially energized Vincent, and the two artists embarked on a series of intense discussions and painting sessions. They pushed each other creatively, exploring new ideas and techniques that would influence their respective styles. However, the partnership between Vincent and Gauguin soon began to unravel. The two artists had starkly different temperaments and philosophies. Vincent's emotionally charged and spontaneous approach to art often clashed with Gauguin's more calculated and methodical style. Their disagreements became increasingly heated, exacerbated by Vincent's erratic behavior and Gauguin's domineering personality. The tension between them reached a breaking point in December 1888. On December 23, 1888, Vincent experienced a severe mental crisis. Following an argument with Gauguin, Vincent reportedly threatened his friend with a razor before turning the blade on himself. In a state of distress, he cut off part of his left ear and delivered it to a local woman, an act that shocked the community and led to his hospitalization. This incident marked a turning point in Vincent's mental health, bringing his struggles to the forefront and leading to his first documented diagnosis of mental illness. Gauguin left Arles shortly after the incident, and Vincent's dream of an artistic utopia collapsed. He was devastated by the failure of their collaboration and the loss of his friend. The residents of Arles, alarmed by his erratic behavior, petitioned to have him removed from the community. These events deepened Vincent's feelings of alienation, yet he continued to find solace in his art, even as his mental state deteriorated. Despite the turmoil of his life in Arles, Vincent's creative output during this period remains one of the most remarkable achievements in art history. His ability to transform his inner struggles into works of profound beauty and emotion is a testament to his resilience and genius. Paintings like Starry Night over the Rhône and Bedroom in Arles capture not only the physical landscapes of Provence, but also the emotional landscapes of Vincent's mind. The Arles period was a time of both unparalleled creativity and profound suffering for Vincent van Gogh. It encapsulated the duality of his existence, his capacity for producing breathtaking art alongside his intense personal struggles. Though his dream of an artistic community remained unfulfilled, the works he created during this time stand as a testament to his enduring vision and his ability to find beauty and meaning in the midst of adversity. As Vincent left Arles for the asylum at Saint-Rémy-de-Provence, he carried with him the legacy of his extraordinary achievements and the weight of his unresolved inner turmoil. In May 1889, Vincent van Gogh voluntarily admitted himself to the St. Paul de Mossel Asylum in Saint-Rémy-de-Provence, seeking respite from his deteriorating mental health. This period, though fraught with challenges, was one of extraordinary artistic achievement. The year Vincent spent at Saint-Rémy demonstrated his remarkable resilience, as he channeled his inner struggles into some of his most iconic and emotionally powerful works. The decision to enter the asylum was not an easy one for Vincent, but it reflected his awareness of the severity of his condition. The events in Arles, including the infamous ear-cutting incident and the community's petition for his removal, had left him emotionally and physically drained. At St. Paul, Vincent hoped to find stability in a safe environment where he could focus on his recovery and art. The asylum, a former monastery surrounded by olive groves and lavender fields, provided a serene setting that offered Vincent both isolation and inspiration. Life at the asylum was regimented, with structured routines and limited freedoms. Vincent occupied a small, sparsely furnished room, and he was initially restricted to working within the asylum's walled garden. Despite these constraints, he found solace in the natural beauty of his surroundings. The garden, with its blooming flowers, twisted cypress trees, and sunlit paths, became a recurring theme in his paintings. His early works from this period, such as Irises and The Starry Night, reflect both the tranquility of the setting and the turbulence of his inner world. The Starry Night, completed in June 1889, is one of Vincent's most celebrated masterpieces and a testament to his ability to translate emotion into art. The painting's swirling skies, radiant stars, and brooding cypress trees convey a sense of cosmic wonder and existential longing. Though Vincent's mental state was fragile, his artistic vision was unshakable, and the starry night stands as a profound expression of his creativity during a time of immense personal struggle. Vincent's artistic practice at Saint Remy was relentless. He produced an astonishing 150 paintings and over 100 drawings during his year at the asylum, often working with feverish intensity. His subjects range from landscapes and still lives to portraits of his fellow patients and imaginative interpretations of biblical scenes. Each work bore the hallmark of his distinctive style: vibrant colors, bold brushstrokes, and an emotional depth that resonated with viewers. However, Vincent's time at the asylum was not without its difficulties. He suffered from recurring episodes of mental illness, marked by hallucinations, paranoia, and severe depression. During these episodes, he was often unable to paint, and his frustration at being separated from his work added to his anguish. His letters to his brother Theo during this time reveal his vulnerability, as he grappled with feelings of isolation and uncertainty about his future. Despite these challenges, Vincent's resolve to continue creating never wavered. He found ways to adapt to his circumstances, often drawing inspiration from memory or reproducing works by artists he admired, such as Millet and Delacroix. These exercises not only honed his technical skills, but also provided him with a sense of continuity and purpose, helping him navigate the difficulties of asylum life. The natural environment surrounding the asylum remained a constant source of inspiration for Vincent. The olive groves, wheat fields, and cypress trees of Saint Remy are recurring motifs in his work from this period. Paintings such as olive trees with the alpills in the background and wheat field with cypresses capture the vibrant colors and dynamic energy of the Provençal landscape, reflecting both Vincent's deep connection to nature and his ability to convey its essence through his art. Toward the end of his stay at Saint Remy, Vincent began to show signs of improvement, and he was granted permission to paint outside the asylum's walls. This newfound freedom allowed him to explore the surrounding countryside, further enriching his artistic repertoire. However, Vincent remained acutely aware of his precarious mental state and expressed doubts about his ability to fully recover. His letters convey a poignant mixture of hope and resignation as he continued to grapple with the complexities of his condition. In May 1890, Vincent decided to leave the asylum and move to Auvers-sur-Oise, a small village near Paris, where he could be closer to Theo and seek the care of Dr. Paul Gaucher, a physician who supported artists. This decision marked the end of his time at Saint Remy and the beginning of the final chapter of his life. Though Vincent left the asylum, the works he created there stand as a testament to his resilience and unyielding commitment to his art. The year Vincent spent at Saint Remy was a time of profound duality, one of personal suffering and artistic triumph. Despite his struggles with mental illness, he produced some of the most significant works of his career, demonstrating his extraordinary ability to find beauty and meaning in adversity. The paintings and drawings he created during this period not only reflect his inner turmoil, but also reveal his enduring belief in the transformative power of art. These works, now celebrated around the world, remain a poignant reminder of Vincent's resilience and his unwavering dedication to his craft. Vincent van Gogh's relocation to Auvers-sur-Oise in May 1890 marked the final chapter of his life. Nestled in the French countryside, Auvers offered Vincent a blend of serenity and proximity to his brother Theo, who lived in Paris. Under the care of Dr. Paul Gaucher, a physician with a deep appreciation for art, Vincent hoped to find stability and continue his artistic journey. Despite these promising conditions, his final months were marked by a relentless artistic output, growing mental anguish, and a tragic conclusion. Auvers-sur-Oise was an idyllic village that seemed tailor-made for Vincent's artistic sensibilities. Surrounded by rolling hills, wheat fields, and charming architecture, it provided an abundance of inspiration. Vincent quickly immersed himself in his work, creating over 70 paintings and numerous drawings in the span of just 2 months, a testament to his tireless dedication. His artistic style during this period continued to evolve, blending the vibrant colors and expressive brushstrokes he had developed in Alls and Saint Remy with a newfound sense of immediacy and urgency. Dr. Paul Goucher played a significant role in Vincent's time at Auvers. A patron of the arts and an amateur painter himself, Goucher offered both medical care and companionship. Vincent portrayed Goucher in one of his most famous works, Portrait of Dr. Goucher, which reveals the doctor's melancholic expression and introspective demeanor. The painting, infused with emotional depth, reflects Vincent's profound connection to his subject. However, despite Goucher's best efforts, Vincent's mental health remained precarious, marked by alternating periods of hope and despair. The paintings Vincent created in Auvers are among the most iconic of his career. Works such as Wheatfield with Crows, The Church at Auvers, and Daubigny's Garden showcase his mastery of color, light, and composition. These paintings convey a sense of movement and emotional intensity, capturing the beauty of the landscape while reflecting Vincent's inner turmoil. Wheatfield with Crows, often interpreted as a foreboding work, features a dramatic sky and a flock of crows soaring above a winding path. The painting's somber tone and ambiguous symbolism have led many to see it as a reflection of Vincent's state of mind during his final days. Despite his prolific output, Vincent continued to struggle with feelings of isolation and self-doubt. His letters to Theo during this time reveal a deep sense of uncertainty about his future and his place in the art world. Although Theo remained unwavering in his support, Vincent worried about being a financial and emotional burden on his brother, whose own life was becoming increasingly complicated by health issues and family responsibilities. The art community in Paris was beginning to take notice of Vincent's work, offering a glimmer of recognition. One of his paintings was included in the prestigious Salon de Independence exhibition, where it received positive reviews. Fellow artists, including Camille Pissarro, expressed admiration for Vincent's unique style and emotional depth. However, this burgeoning acknowledgement came too late to alleviate Vincent's despair. He remained haunted by the belief that he had failed to achieve his goals and that his work would never be truly appreciated. In late July 1890, Vincent's mental health deteriorated further. On July 27th, he walked into a wheat field near Auvers and, in an act of desperation, shot himself in the chest. Mortally wounded, he managed to return to his room at the Revue Inn, where he was discovered by the innkeeper. Despite medical attention, his injuries were too severe, and he succumbed to his wounds 2 days later, on July 29, 1890. Theo was at his side during his final hours, providing comfort and witnessing the tragic end of his brother's life. Vincent's death marked the culmination of years of struggle, both personal and professional. He was only 37 years old, yet he left behind a body of work that would forever change the course of art history. At the time of his death, Vincent was largely unknown outside a small circle of artists and collectors. He had sold only a handful of paintings during his lifetime, and his revolutionary approach to art remained unrecognized by the wider public. In the months and years following Vincent's death, Theo dedicated himself to preserving and promoting his brother's legacy. Tragically, Theo passed away just 6 months after Vincent, but his wife, Johanna van Gogh, took up the cause, tirelessly working to exhibit and publish Vincent's works and letters. Her efforts helped to bring Vincent's art to a global audience, solidifying his status as one of the most influential artists of all time. The final months of Vincent van Gogh's life in Auvers-sur-Oise were a poignant blend of artistic triumph and personal despair. His extraordinary productivity and the emotional power of his work stand as a testament to his enduring vision and resilience. Though his life ended in tragedy, the art he created during this time, and throughout his career, continues to inspire and move people around the world. In death, Vincent achieved the recognition and appreciation that had eluded him in life, leaving a legacy that transcends time and speaks to the profound connection between creativity and the human spirit. The death of Vincent van Gogh in July 1890 marked the end of a life characterized by immense creativity and profound struggle. However, his passing was not the conclusion of his story. In the decades that followed, Vincent's work gained the recognition that had eluded him in life. transforming him from a virtually unknown artist into one of the most celebrated figures in art history. This posthumous rise to fame is a testament to the enduring power of his art and the efforts of those who believed in his genius. The foundation of Vincent's legacy was laid by his brother Theo Van Gogh, whose unwavering support had been a constant in Vincent's life. After Vincent's death, Theo worked tirelessly to preserve his brother's art and writings, determined to ensure that his contributions to the art world would not be forgotten. Tragically, Theo passed away just 6 months after Vincent, leaving the task of safeguarding Vincent's legacy to his wife, Johanna van Gogh. Johanna played a pivotal role in bringing Vincent's work to public attention. Inheriting hundreds of his paintings, drawings, and letters, she recognized their artistic and historical significance. With a steadfast commitment to preserving and promoting Vincent's legacy, she organized exhibitions, published his correspondence with Theo, and actively engaged with collectors and galleries. Her efforts were instrumental in introducing Vincent's work to a broader audience and fostering a deeper appreciation for his revolutionary approach to art. The publication of Vincent's letters was particularly significant. These deeply personal writings provided invaluable insight into his thoughts, emotions, and creative process, humanizing him and revealing the profound intellectual and emotional depth that underpinned his art. The letters resonated with readers, offering a narrative of perseverance, vulnerability, and passion that further enhanced the public's interest in his work. The early 20th century witnessed a gradual but steady rise in Vincent's reputation. His innovative use of color, expressive brushwork, and ability to convey raw emotion began to resonate with a new generation of artists and art enthusiasts. Movements such as Fauvism and Expressionism drew inspiration from Vincent's bold and unorthodox techniques, acknowledging him as a forerunner of modern art. Artists like Henri Matisse, André Derain, and Edvard Munch openly cited his influence, further cementing his status as a visionary figure. Exhibitions of Vincent's work gained momentum during this period, both in Europe and abroad. His paintings began to appear in prestigious galleries and museums, captivating audiences with their vibrancy and emotional intensity. The recognition he had longed for in life was finally becoming a reality, as collectors and institutions sought to acquire his works. By the mid-20th century, Vincent van Gogh was no longer a forgotten artist, but a cornerstone of art history. The establishment of the Van Gogh Museum in Amsterdam in 1973 marked a significant milestone in the preservation and celebration of Vincent's legacy. Home to the largest collection of his works and personal artifacts, the museum serves as a testament to his enduring influence and a tribute to his extraordinary life and art. It attracts millions of visitors annually, offering them an opportunity to connect with the man behind the masterpieces and to experience the transformative power of his work. Vincent's legacy extends beyond the art world, influencing literature, music, film, and popular culture. His life story, marked by perseverance in the face of adversity, has inspired countless interpretations and adaptations. Works such as Irving Stone's biographical novel Lust for Life, 1934, which was later adapted into a film, and Don McLean's iconic song Vincent, 1971, have brought Vincent's story to audiences around the world, solidifying his status as a cultural icon. The soaring prices of Vincent's paintings in the art market further underscore his posthumous fame. Works like Portrait of Dr. Gachet and Irises have sold for record-breaking sums, reflecting the immense value placed on his art. While these transactions highlight the extent of his popularity, they also serve as a poignant reminder of the struggles he faced in life, when his work was largely unappreciated and he lived in poverty. The transformation of Vincent van Gogh from an obscure artist to a global symbol of artistic genius raises important questions about the nature of recognition and the relationship between an artist's life and their legacy. His story challenges conventional notions of success, illustrating that the impact of an artist's work often transcends their lifetime. It also underscores the importance of advocates like Theo and Johanna, whose dedication ensured that Vincent's voice would not be lost to history. Today, Vincent van Gogh stands as a universal figure of creativity and resilience. His art continues to inspire and move people across cultures and generations, offering a testament to the enduring power of human expression. The journey of his legacy, from obscurity to global acclaim, is a profound reminder of the transformative potential of art and the indomitable spirit of an artist who dared to see the world differently. The legacy of Vincent van Gogh extends far beyond the fame he achieved posthumously. His impact on the course of modern art is immeasurable, influencing a vast array of movements, styles, and artists. Van Gogh's work has had a lasting effect on the way subsequent generations of artists approach painting, color, and expression. From the early 20th century avant-garde movements to contemporary art practices, his revolutionary techniques have continued to inspire and shape the evolution of visual culture. Vincent van Gogh's use of color and brushwork was revolutionary, marking a departure from the more restrained and realistic styles of his predecessors. His exploration of vibrant, bold colors was particularly significant. Where other artists adhered to traditional palettes, Van Gogh embraced the emotional potential of color, using it not only to represent the physical world, but to convey deeper psychological and emotional truths. His paintings are imbued with a sense of urgency and intensity, as seen in works like The Red Vineyard or Sunflowers. The thick, impassioned brushstrokes and the juxtaposition of complementary colors in these pieces create an energy that transforms the ordinary into the extraordinary. In terms of technique, Van Gogh's dynamic brushwork and visible, expressive strokes have been hugely influential. His thickly applied paint and the often rough texture of his brushstrokes were radical for their time. This technique, known as impasto, involved laying paint on the canvas in such a way that it stood out, adding texture and depth. Artists such as German expressionist Ernst Ludwig Kirchner and American painter Jackson Pollock were inspired by Van Gogh's ability to evoke emotion through materiality and texture, and these qualities contributed to the development of abstract expressionism and other modern movements. The relationship between color and emotion was central to Van Gogh's artistic philosophy. He believed that colors could not only depict the external world, but also express the inner world of the artist, allowing for a more subjective representation of reality. His landscapes, such as Wheatfield with Crows and Starry Night, are examples of this approach, where the swirling patterns of the sky or the tumultuous energy of a field convey a sense of the artist's emotional and psychological state. This departure from the more restrained, observational use of color paved the way for later artistic movements like Fauvism and Expressionism, which similarly sought to evoke mood and emotion through bold and expressive color. One of the most significant aspects of Van Gogh's legacy is his influence on the Fauvist movement, which emerged in the early 20th century. Led by artists such as Henri Matisse and André Derain, the Fauve embraced the use of vibrant, non-naturalistic colors, and their work was a direct response to the muted tones of Impressionism and Post-Impressionism. Fauvism emphasized emotional expression, spontaneity, and color as an expressive tool, concepts that have been deeply explored by Van Gogh in his own work. Matisse, in particular, admired Van Gogh's intense use of color to convey emotion, and the connection between Van Gogh's work and the Fauve aesthetic was both direct and profound. Van Gogh's influence also extended to German Expressionism. Artists such as Ernst Ludwig Kirchner and Wassily Kandinsky took inspiration from his emotional intensity and the energetic brushwork that defined his work. Kirchner, known for his raw, bold compositions, absorbed Van Gogh's use of color and brushstroke to create works that conveyed both personal and collective psychological states. Similarly, Kandinsky's abstract works, which sought to represent inner emotional states through color and form, drew from Van Gogh's belief in the power of color to convey emotion. The impact of Van Gogh was not limited to the early 20th century. In the mid-20th century, his influence became central to the development of abstract expressionism. Artists like Jackson Pollock, Mark Rothko, and Willem de Kooning were inspired by the gestural brushwork and emotional intensity that Van Gogh introduced to the canvas. Pollock's dripping technique, for instance, can be seen as a modern extension of Van Gogh's impulse to use expressive, energetic strokes to embody emotion. Rothko's use of color fields also resonates with Van Gogh's belief in the power of color to evoke psychological states, as seen in his paintings like The Night Cafe or Bedroom Annals. Vincent's influence can also be traced in the work of contemporary artists, whose exploration of mental health, identity, and the human condition often echoes the themes Van Gogh grappled with in his own life and art. Artists like Tracey Emin, whose raw and confessional works deal with themes of suffering and emotion, align with Van Gogh's own expression of inner turmoil. Contemporary painters such as David Hockney have also paid homage to Van Gogh's use of color and his ability to transform the mundane into the extraordinary. Moreover, Van Gogh's work has had a significant cultural impact, influencing not only visual artists but also literature, music, and film. Writers like Irving Stone, whose biography Lust for Life, 1934, brought Vincent's tragic story to a wider audience, have explored the emotional depth and complexity of his life and work. The novel was later adapted into a successful film in 1956, cementing Van Gogh's place in popular culture. Musicians, too, have drawn inspiration from his life and work. The famous song Vincent by Don McLean, 1971, evokes the emotional depth of Van Gogh's art and his struggle with mental illness, further entrenching his image as a tragic but genius figure in the public imagination. Vincent van Gogh's artistic influence is evident in the way his techniques and philosophies have been absorbed into the very fabric of modern and contemporary art. His use of color, brushwork, and expression to communicate the emotional and psychological states of the artist has fundamentally shaped the way artists approach their craft. In addition to his influence on individual artists, Van Gogh's legacy has had a broader cultural impact, affecting literature, music, and popular culture. The enduring power of his work lies in its ability to resonate across time, connecting with audiences on an emotional level and inspiring countless generations to see the world through the lens of creativity, passion, and perseverance. Vincent van Gogh's life and work transcend the boundaries of time, place, and medium, establishing him as one of the most important and universally beloved figures in the history of art. His contributions to the visual arts continue to shape contemporary culture, offering a profound meditation on the relationship between art, emotion, and human experience. Van Gogh's legacy not only includes the revolutionary techniques he introduced to painting, but also the deeply personal, humanistic narratives he imbued into each canvas. These themes of isolation, struggle, and beauty resonate with audiences worldwide, creating a lasting bond between the artist and the viewer that transcends the material confines of his works. One of the central aspects of Van Gogh's enduring legacy is his exploration of the human condition. His art reflects an unflinching engagement with themes of loneliness, suffering, and alienation, experiences that were all too familiar to him in his own life. From the early, somber paintings like The Potato Eaters to the later, more vibrant works like The Starry Night and Irises, Van Gogh's paintings express the emotional depth of his personal struggles. His art is not merely an aesthetic exercise, but rather a window into the artist's psychological state, offering the viewer a glimpse into the complexities of human emotion. This emotional honesty in his work continues to resonate with people across the world, reminding them that art, in its most genuine form, can serve as a vehicle for empathy and shared understanding. Furthermore, Van Gogh's work was driven by a search for meaning, both in life and in his art. Throughout his tumultuous journey, he grappled with the question of his purpose in the world and his place within the artistic tradition. His commitment to his craft, despite the overwhelming odds of rejection, poverty, and mental illness, exemplifies a profound belief in the power of art to offer both personal salvation and universal significance. In his letters to his brother Theo, Vincent often speaks of his desire to create works that would ultimately stand the test of time, that would one day be recognized for their true value. Although Van Gogh struggled with feelings of inadequacy during his life, it is clear that his art was not merely an outlet for his personal expression, but also a form of intellectual and spiritual inquiry. His search for meaning in a world full of suffering resonates with the human desire for connection, understanding, and transcendence. The intense, almost obsessive nature of Van Gogh's work, his feverish productivity, his tireless quest to capture the world through the lens of color and brushstroke, also underscores his relentless pursuit of artistic mastery. Even in the face of mental breakdowns and profound personal crises, Van Gogh never abandoned his passion for painting. His prolific output, particularly in his final years, is a testament to the artist's unyielding commitment to his craft. It is through this dedication that Van Gogh's legacy has taken on a life of its own, transcending his personal difficulties and becoming an enduring symbol of the transformative power of creativity. Van Gogh's art reminds us that the struggle for meaning, identity, and artistic expression is both painful and redemptive, that there is beauty to be found even in the most tumultuous experiences. Van Gogh's legacy also speaks to the role of art in the broader social and cultural context. While he was largely ignored during his lifetime, his work gained widespread recognition in the 20th century and became central to the development of modern art. His emotive use of color, his exploration of symbolism and expression, and his departure from traditional artistic norms all contributed to the creation of new visual languages. Van Gogh's impact on the development of movements such as Fauvism, Expressionism, and Abstract Expressionism is undeniable, as his approach to art paved the way for generations of artists to push the boundaries of representation and experiment with new techniques. The exploration of personal and emotional content in art, exemplified by Van Gogh, influenced artists such as Henri Matisse, Edvard Munch, and Jackson Pollock, who sought to convey their inner worlds through their paintings. Moreover, Van Gogh's influence is not limited to the visual arts. His life and work have inspired countless cultural works in literature, film, music, and popular culture. The enduring appeal of his story, the tragic genius who battled inner demons, yet created some of the most revered masterpieces of all time, has captured the imagination of writers, filmmakers, and musicians alike. Irving Stone's 1934 biographical novel Lust for Life and the subsequent 1956 film adaptation introduced Van Gogh's story to a global audience, romanticizing his life as a poignant narrative of artistic genius and personal sacrifice. The song Vincent by Don McLean, written in 1971, brought Van Gogh's emotional struggles and artistic vision to millions, solidifying his place in popular consciousness. The reverence with which contemporary culture holds Van Gogh speaks to the universal nature of his story and his work. In the realm of contemporary art, Van Gogh's influence is ever-present. His works continue to inspire artists across diverse fields and mediums. Today, the legacy of Van Gogh can be seen not only in traditional painting, but also in digital art, sculpture, and conceptual works that reflect his unrelenting drive to communicate emotion and human experience. Modern technology has also enabled new ways of interacting with Van Gogh's work, with exhibitions using virtual reality and digital projections to engage viewers in an immersive experience of his art. This blend of technology and tradition is yet another testament to the enduring power of Van Gogh's creations, ensuring that his influence will continue to reach future generations in innovative ways. The question of Van Gogh's mental illness and its connection to his art is another aspect of his legacy that continues to be explored. While many of his works reflect the anguish and emotional turmoil he experienced, they also represent an extraordinary capacity for transformation. Rather than allowing his suffering to render his art bleak or despondent, Van Gogh used his personal pain as a catalyst for artistic innovation. His struggles with mental illness became intertwined with his creative process, and many of his most iconic paintings emerged from moments of psychological crisis. The fact that Van Gogh was able to transform his inner darkness into powerful works of art speaks to the resilience of the human spirit and the therapeutic potential of creative expression. In the broader scope of art history, Van Gogh's legacy serves as a reminder of the importance of perseverance in the pursuit of one's vision. His career was marked by setbacks, rejection, and financial hardship, yet he continued to paint with an intensity that would later captivate the world. In many ways, his story is emblematic of the broader challenges faced by artists throughout history. Individuals who risk everything to bring their inner vision to life, often facing hardship and alienation in the process. Van Gogh's journey underscores the idea that true art is not created for the approval of others, but as an expression of the artist's unique perspective on the world. Ultimately, the enduring legacy of Vincent van Gogh lies in the way his work continues to move, inspire, and challenge us. His art, born from personal pain and anguish, is a testament to the transcendent power of human creativity. Through his use of color, form, and emotion, Van Gogh created a body of work that communicates not only the beauty of the world, but also the complexities of the human experience. His legacy, now firmly entrenched in the canon of Western art, serves as a reminder that art can be both a reflection of the artist's inner world and a mirror through which we, as viewers, confront our own emotions, struggles, and desires. Van Gogh's life and work continue to resonate because they encapsulate the timeless quest for meaning, beauty, and human connection that defines the essence of artistic expression.